Stand up, let your voice be heard, and fight for what you know is right.
How you guys doing? Jason A. Kuhn here, giving you a Fight the Deception with Real Perception Christian News Brief for October 16th, 2011. We got a lot of news today, so we'll jump right in it here at Infowars.com. An article written by Paul Joseph Watson. Chase Bank limits cash withdrawals, bans international wire transfers. Chase Bank has moved to limit cash withdrawals while banning business customers from sending international wire transfers from November 17th onwards, prompting speculation that the bank is preparing for a looming financial crisis in the United States. Numerous business customers with Chase Business Select Checking and Chase Business Classic accounts have received letters over the past week informing them that cash activity, both deposits and withdrawals, will be limited to a $50,000 total per statement cycle from November 17th onwards. Let's move on. We'll stay here at Infowars.com. Another article written by Paul Joseph Watson. Crisis. USDA orders states to withhold electronic food stamps. The USDA is directing states to withhold electronic transfer benefits for the month of November until further notice, setting up a potential food stamp crisis that could very easily lead to riots and widespread looting if the government shutdown drags on. The USDA, which oversees the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, or SNAP, issued the order in a letter to SNAP administrators, which states, understanding the operational issues and constraints that states face in the interest of preserving maximum flexibility, we are directing states to hold their November issuance files and delay transmission to state electronic benefit transfer (EBT) vendors until further notice. In other words, up to 47 million Americans who rely on food stamps to feed themselves face the prospect of going hungry next month. Let's move on. We'll stick here at Infowars.com. Article written by Kit Daniels. Food stamp dependency. Riots lead to martial law. By encouraging mass dependency on the welfare state, the Obama administration is ensuring that the nationwide rioting due to larger scale collapse of the food stamp program will justify an explosive expansion of the police state. The administration's goal is to dramatically increase food stamp enrollment, officially known as the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, or SNAP, follows a strategy called pressure from above and below, in which the government deliberately creates problems in order to offer solutions which only expand governmental powers at the expense of individual rights. The government's solution to the nationwide rioting due to a crash in the food stamp system will no doubt involve a federalized police state takeover, perhaps even martial law, which the Department of Homeland Security tanks and Viper squads roaming America's streets to supposedly restore order out to the chaos while ignoring the Bill of Rights with impunity. Wow, order out of KO, New World Order. Let's move on. We'll stay here at Infowars.com. Radio host Michael Savage calls for answers over missing nuke report. Let's give this a listen and see what Michael Savage has to say.
We're asking a simple question. Why has Obama purged the top nuclear commanders from our military? Vice Admiral Tim Giardina and Major General Michael Carey were thrown out over nothing. Now there's only one site again that's talking about. It's the same site that talked about the killing of the unarmed black woman in Washington 2 weeks ago. Remember, if they can kill an unarmed black woman, execute her after removing the baby from a car, and then shoot her to death, without one word from the phony reverends or from the useless Pravda media, what does that tell you they can do to anybody in this country? So now they're purging the military. They're whacking people for no reason whatsoever. Top nuke commanders terminated following missing nuclear warheads report is the headline on prisonplanet.com. That's Alex Jones's website. He's the only one covering this. I just found it.
That's right, folks. Alex Jones, prisonplanet.com, and Infowars.com, and Michael Savage are the only two news agencies out there covering this. If you want to read the rest of this article and watch the rest of this 16-minute video, of course, go to Infowars.com, but we'll move on. We'll stay here at Infowars.com, an article written by Anthony Gucciardi. This is the article Michael Savage was referring to, so we'll dig into it a little bit. Top nuke commanders terminated following missing nuclear warheads report. Two of the top nuclear commanders within the United States have been terminated following the exclusive high-level military leak report by Alex Jones and myself regarding the secret and unsigned nuclear weapons transfer from Dyess Air Force Base to South Carolina. Disturbingly, the high-level suspension from top generals within the military establishment are not the only red flags to follow the leaked report. Even before it was announced that the second highest nuke commander in the United States was suspended on the same day of the secret nuke transfer just weeks later, it was Senator Lindsey Graham who went on record hours after our report in saying that a nuclear attack could come to South Carolina in the event that we did not move to militarily against Syria and Iran, pushing even harder to action against both Iran and Syria. This alone generated hundreds of thousands to view our video reports and millions to examine our reports, which had immediately gone from concerning high-level military intelligence to an international topic. There we go. If you want to read the rest of this article, again, it's at Infowars.com. We'll move on. WashingtonTimes.com, U.S. allies lets funds flow to Al-Qaida in Syria. The United States has had limited success cutting off funding to the Al-Qaida-linked fighters and foreign jihadists flowing into Syria, in part because of lack of cooperation on the part of the Middle Eastern allies, intelligence and national security community sources say. Officials say they are tracking the movements of funds from various wealthy individuals in the Persian Gulf, but the governments of key Gulf countries are reluctant to crack down. Unless the money is actually in the U.S. financial system, you have to point out to these governments where the money is going and try to work with them to make sure it goes to the legitimate group, said U.S. official who spoke with the Washington Times on the condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the intelligence related to tracking such money. Let's move on. PoliceStateUSA.com. Chicago Marathon featured warrantless bag searches along a 26-mile track, unprecedented security. Let's dig into this article a little bit. Continuing the trend of mass suspension of the Fourth Amendment at every possible event, police searched the bags of anyone they chose along the 26-mile track of the annual Chicago Marathon. Most disturbing than the predictable push to eliminate privacy rights is the public's utter acquiescence in the face of the growing police state. At the annual race on Sunday, October 13th, a legion of police officers lined the streets. Chicago police sent more than 1,000 officers to the race, some wearing conspicuous yellow vests, others infiltrating the crowd in plain clothes. FBI agents wearing military fatigues held a visible presence throughout the track, along with federal ATF agents and U.S. Marshals carrying rifles. DHS agents littered the scene performing searches with dogs. Department of Homeland Security designated the marathon a Level 2 event, justifying the massive presence of federal agents at the race. Near the intersection of Michigan and Jackson, a giant emergency alert system banner read EAS, Alert Level Low. Everywhere you look, there's about 20 officers at the corner, about 14 helicopters in the air, said Amy Byrne. Grant Park was locked down with checkpoints and suspicionless bag searches. To add to the security theater, the race banned costumes for participants and only allowed runners to carry clear plastic baggies. Wow. Let's move on. France24.com. Radiation experts confirm plutonium on Arafat clothing. Swiss radiation experts have confirmed they found traces of plutonium on clothing used by Yasser Arafat, which support the possibility the veteran Palestinian leader was poisoned. In a report published by The Lancet at the weekend, the team provided scientific details to media, statements made at 2012 that they had found plutonium on Arafat's belongings. Arafat died in France on November 11, 2004 at the age of 75, but doctors were unable to specify the cause of death. No autopsy was carried out at the time, in line with his widow's request. Now let's move on. This is FreeRepublic.com. Joel Osteen rebukes Apostle Paul, Peter, and John. According to Joel Osteen, pastor of the Lakewood Church in Houston, Texas, these first-century apostles are wrong and outdated, and he has come out boldly to infer indirectly that Apostle Paul, Peter, and John, whom wrote much of the New Testament, were wrong and need to be corrected and rebuked. When asked directly if people whom are openly practicing homosexuals are accepted into the kingdom, Joel Osteen responded with absolutely anybody is. This is a great article here at the FreeRepublic.com. You want to read the rest of it? It will, of course, be attached to the YouTube description box. Let's move on. FoxNews.com. U.S. Army defines Christian ministry as domestic hate group. Several dozen U.S. Army active duty and reserve troops were told last week that the American Family Association, a well-respected Christian ministry, should be classified as a domestic hate group because the group advocates for traditional family values. The belief was held at Camp Shelby in Mississippi and listed the AFA alongside domestic hate groups like the Ku Klux Klan, neo-Nazis, the Black Panthers, and the Nation of Islam. A soldier who attended the briefing contacted me and sent me a photograph of a slideshow presentation that listed AFA as a domestic hate group. Under the AFA headline is a photograph of Westboro Baptist Church preacher Fred Phelps holding a sign reading "No Special Law for," explicitly fags, I suppose. It's kind of blocked out there. That's my last article that I got for you guys today, but I do want to give you my New World Order quote of the day, written by David Rockefeller out of his own book, Memoirs, from page 405. Some even believe we, the Rockefeller family, are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure, one world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I am proud of it. I don't want to leave you without my proverb of the day. Let's go to Proverbs 28:13, King James only. He that covereth his sins shall not prosper, but whoso confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy. That's it for the day for the Fight the Deception with Real Perception Christian News Brief. I do want to leave you off with the song that I brought you in on. This is by CR33, Convicted Resistance.